Hey everyone, it's Shauna the Tax Goddess. Today I want to cover a little bit about the nonprofit sector. So normally Tax Goddess works with the for-profit businesses, but since a big thing in my world is charity, this year Tax Goddess was able to donate $35,000 to the Tax Goddess Scholarship Fund. So love working with charities. So I wanted to go over just a few of the points that were specifically related to nonprofits and the newest PPP package that was signed December 21st by Congress and December 27th by Trump as the final sign-off. Now, there are some basic eligibility requirements. So the 50C6 nonprofits that did not qualify under the first PPP round can now apply if they meet the following qualifications. So the organization itself must not employ more than 300 people. This is up from 100 people. Now, employed meaning W-2 employees. This does not count contractors. This is actually only employees. The organization must have used or will use the full amount of their first PPP if they got it, okay, if they qualified. You must not receive more than 15% of your receipts, your gross receipts, from lobbying. Now, this is up 10% over the original bill. So that 5% could make a difference for some people, all right? The next one is the lobbying activities cannot the lobbying activities, the cost of the lobbying activities cannot exceed $1 million during the most recent tax year that ended prior to February 15th of 2020. So we definitely have some calculations. The accountants and the CPAs in the nonprofit world are going to be looking at deadlines and the amounts you're spent. Were you at $1,000,001? Is that going to get you out of the ability to apply for this second round of funding? So cost of lobbying activities cannot be more than $1 million as of the most recent tax year that ended prior to February 15th of 2020. Now, this new package is more flexible on how you can spend your money, but there are some tips that I want to throw out here specifically for the nonprofits. Documentation is key, absolutely key, okay? The expansion of the PPP covered period from 8 weeks to 24 weeks has relieved a lot of the concerns for nonprofits about getting full loan forgiveness, but you still need to document every time, guys, right? If you don't have the documents and you go to request for forgiveness, you may not get your forgiveness. That would be a really, really bad thing. Now, secondly, accounting for PPP funds. All right, so this is actually a little bit different in the nonprofit world than it is in the for-profit world. A nonprofit's financial statement accounting can follow one of two paths according to the AICPA. Okay, so if you're planning to pursue forgiveness, the funds can be accounted either as debt or as a conditional contribution, all right? So non-for-profits that do not plan to request forgiveness should add the PPP funds as debt, all right? So it's very, very specific, but make sure that you're working with your qualified nonprofit CPA or not-for-profit CPA, I always use those terms interchangeably, as well as your nonprofit bookkeepers, because these are very, very specific. Now, similar, actually identical to the for-profit companies, double dipping on the PPP loans is not permitted. So you are not allowed, in this case for nonprofits, you're not allowed to use PPP funds for the same expenses that you're getting other government funds, all right? So again, this is where the accounting comes in. Everything must be completely separate. You cannot double dip, so we would recommend that you would have two separate line items in your accounting for those specific things. Now, with nonprofits, you're going to have some challenges if your year end is either June 30th, July 31st, or August 31st, okay? Accounting for PPP loans should be generally very straightforward. However, for not-for-profits with fiscal year ends, June 30th, July 31st, or August 31st, you may have difficulty providing and the documentation for the loan forgiveness, because part of your loan forgiveness and the cost for the loan forgiveness are going to occur in a fiscal year after the covered period. Okay, so your covered period may span across 2 years. Well, so for some organizations, that's going to require quite a bit of strategy and some thinking through some scenarios, because of course you want to make sure that you're getting as much forgiveness as possible. But on the other hand, it is what it is, right? So make sure, again, that you're working with your qualified CPA, bookkeeper that specialize in nonprofit. Now, reputational risks. I bring this up just as a thought, okay? I'm sure everybody saw, but in the news, there were some organizations that got PPP that maybe shouldn't have, that were using the funds for bad purposes, buying private planes, okay? There were a lot of really not so good things that happened with some of this government money. Now, of course, if you're watching the Tax Goddess channel, I'm sure that you are totally above board and would only use this for the appropriate purposes. But just watch how your reputation may or may not be impacted by receiving PPP. So you may want to consider doing some sort of promotion to the people in your organization as well as your supporters. We got the PPP. How are you going to use it? How are you going to make the organization better and stronger with the PPP funds? Now, you also, of course, want to be looking at what we call scenario planning. All right. So normally nonprofits rely on a lot of live events, trade shows, conferences for revenue. Many organizations have had to pivot, extremely pivot, because you can't exactly do live shows and trade shows and conferences right now. So make sure that you're looking at your scenario. What kind of events, what are you going to be doing for the next 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Better to have your plan B that you can now use as plan A, because we don't know when this is going to be over and how long this is really going to last before we can really get back out there and be having live events and conferences and that kind of thing to be able to raise revenue. Of course, without revenue, that could be a serious problem for a lot of the nonprofits. So, be looking after the health and care of your customers and your employees, your clientele. A lot of people have switched to virtual, but of course, that's a baseline. If your team is down, your nonprofit is down. So make sure you're taking care of everyone you can. And just watch out for these unusual tax challenges, right? Especially those fiscal year ends. When should you be donating? For you. So again, there's a lot of specialty things to be covered here within the nonprofit world. Tax Goddess does, of course, have our Tax Goddess Scholarship Fund. So if you're not a nonprofit and you're looking to donate to a nonprofit, we would love to take any scholarship donations. But otherwise, there are lots of great nonprofits out there that need your help, need your support. So please continue to help them. And if you're a nonprofit and you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can, of course, find us at taxgoddess.com. And I hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful Saturday. I'm going to be bringing you some more videos. There might be more today, probably a few more this weekend. There's a lot that's happened in this past week. So if you have any questions, again, go to taxgoddess.com. Of course, you can always find me. There's a book an appointment, I think, in the top right-hand corner. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.